mommies. Welcome to the Working Mom podcast. I'm Rea and I have.
I'm Modie. Welcome to the Working Mom podcast.
Cool. And for this first episode, we just thought we'd kick off with a special episode to launch us and for you guys to just get to know us, our passions, and the whole purpose behind building the Working Mom podcast. So we hope that you guys enjoy it and get some insights into who we are and the kind of, I suppose, journey that we have walked as moms, and hopefully you'll relate to it as well.
Yeah.
And resonate with some of our thoughts with the journeys that we've been on, although short. But yeah.
Yeah, I think before we start, so today's episode is around people getting to know more about us, right?
Yeah.
And there's one common factor that we have, a shared value that we have, which is our belief system. So as part of my gift to you, partner, I'm going to share scripture. Okay. And it's been on my heart and it's been on my mind for the better part of the year. So the year has felt like 2 years in one. But I think I've held on to this and it reminds me of you and us. And actually, Rea bought this Bible.
Wow.
Cool. So it's Genesis 1:28, and I'm going to start at 27. So God created mankind in his own image. In the image of God, he created them, male and female, he created them. God blessed them and he said to them, "Be fruitful and increase in number. Fill the earth and subdue it. Rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky and over every living creature that moves on the ground." And I'm using this scripture because both of us are, to be honest, out of our comfort zone.
100%.
And the reality is there isn't anything outside of faith that's going to help us walk the journey. So I want us to keep remembering that he has said that we must be fruitful and increase in number, fill the earth and subdue it, rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky, and over every living creature that moves on the ground.
I think I also love the version where it says have dominion.
Have dominion
over
the
earth.
Yes.
So, wow, that's a nice surprise.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
You've snuck in there, but yeah. I think faith has obviously just also solidified what we've been trying to do.
Yeah.
And it will sustain us. Cool.
So I think you started us off with talking about what this episode is about, and we say it's get to know us while we actually get to know each other. So it's interesting how we met. It's interesting how long we've known each other.
Yeah. It's been 4 months?
4 months. Has it been 4 months?
Yeah.
I think you said we had an anniversary at some point.
It's the 22nd.
The 22nd of Feb.
Because that's when we met. Officially met.
Officially met. So I think I had always known you, just your name.
Yeah.
So the partner, kana baba bitang, the housemate.
Yes,
the housemate worked with you at a previous job, and he would consistently say Rea, but I had never actually met Rea.
Yeah.
And how we met was, I think, through something else that we share. We're both moms. And my little ones were ill for quite some time early in the year. And you were so kind. You actually wanted to deliver a gift.
Yeah. I wanted to send someone, a driver, to deliver at the hospital.
Yeah.
But as you would have it, things didn't go that way. And I had to personally deliver.
Come and drop off.
Yeah. So
yeah.
And
it's interesting because when you came to deliver, I wasn't at the house. So as luck may have it, it was just one of those stressful days, and I decided, so one thing about me, when I'm stressed, I will go and do something for me.
Yeah.
So it's in a way the way I fill my cup. So I had left the house and I decided I'm going to leave father with the children and I'm going to do my nails.
I remember.
And I was out for a long time. Actually, to be honest, I was out longer than I should have been, hoping that whichever guests he had would be gone
by the time you get home.
Yeah. And by the time I got home, You guys were there. You were still there.
But that's the thing. We were also hoping to do an in and out,
Out.
and that was it. But for some reason,
You stayed longer.
we stayed longer and met you officially, and the rest is history.
So we're in which month are we in? We're in
May.
May. So it's been 4 months.
Mm,
Yeah.
Three.
Yeah. Three months.
3 months.
Yeah. So we've known each other for 3 months, and how we came about as the Working Mom podcast was actually it's something that I feel like was spirit led. So in our engagement, I picked up a couple of things that I think are commonalities between us. First of all, being our ambition, right? So yes, I'm a mom. Yes, you're a mom. But there's something about your eloquence for me that was like, no, I can relate to that.
Yeah.
And for the longest time, there was something on my heart that was meant to be done actually for Mother's Day. And I was looking at my fitness business because I'm in the fitness space.
Yes.
And I was thinking, okay, maybe I must do like a boot camp for Mother's Day. But after I met you, there was something that just said, you need to speak. So fun fact about me, I don't speak. I don't speak.
Well,
yeah, but
yeah.
you'd beg to differ.
Beg to differ, like highly so even, just simply because of how you carry yourself and how you carry conversations. I mean, both of us are quite introverted, right? So it was surprising for me to see how outspoken you actually are and how you just so eloquent in the way you communicate and speak and just carry yourself and how you come across to people. So even when you proposed this, I remember a few days before I had jokingly said,
we need to start a platform.
What
did you say?
I said, we're just just discussing things around motherhood.
Yeah.
And then I jokingly said, let's start a mommy's club.
Yes, you said mommy's club.
Let's start a mommy's club. Jokingly, right?
Yeah.
And not realizing what it would actually then just manifest
into.
Yeah. And when you proposed this, for me, I'll be very honest, I thought I wasn't thinking this. I was thinking more.
Yeah. Yeah.
More relaxed, more hidden.
Yeah.
More
intimate.
Covered. Yeah, more intimate.
More unexposed.
Yeah. So
more don't come close to us.
Exactly. Yeah. So when you came with this, I was like, this girl is crazy. She's pulling me out. She's putting me out into the world.
Listen, you didn't hesitate to say yes. So for me, it was
that's what you think.
Oh.
I listened to that voice and I was like, this girl's crazy. But when you say I didn't hesitate in the sense that I probably got back to you within like 10 minutes of your request. Yeah. And I didn't doubt that yes. Yeah. It was a very comfortable yes. So now we're here.
And I think the request, right? So the request was, hey, because we didn't have a rapport. It wasn't that much of a rapport at the time.
No.
But something said to me, listen, you need to have a conversation because anything and everything that happens in your life has a purpose. And how I got there was having been a female that is in a very demanding career. Yeah. That is in a very, pressure-driven field. And then suddenly becoming a mom back to back. So I regard myself a back-to-back mom because I was I was the crazy one that had 2 under 2. Yeah. And that happening in a space where now I just had my first child. Having my first child, then I'm getting comfortable again now. I'm getting back into myself. Yeah. I'm getting a bit more confident. You're getting your groove back. Yeah. And then I fall pregnant again. And falling pregnant again, now I'm having to remove myself from my workspace again.
While you were rebuilding.
While I was rebuilding. Yeah. And in the context of the kind of work that I do, it was almost oh my gosh, what does this mean for me? And then navigating that while I was trying to also still own my own voice outside of all the external things that are happening around me, be it family, and that's my own family, my relatives, my extended relatives, my friendships. So to just give you context, in the past 3 to 5 years, I've lost a lot.
Yeah.
And not lost, but I had to sacrifice a lot because I was gaining the children, right? So it almost puts you in a cocoon where you're trying to find your groove as a new mother, and having to do it back to back, where I wasn't necessarily stable. In that work context,
Correct.
it was something, it blew my mind. But walking the journey for me being hard, I always know in the back of my mind that there's purpose in everything. And I think I have cracked the code of how to use everything and anything that happens to me for
your good. And I think that's almost become our go-to.
Yes.
It's all our go-to scripture as well. When things weren't panning out the way we wanted to, we would just say, remember, everything happens for my good.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that you also mentioned the whole rebuilding part, because I don't know how many texts and quotes that I've come across that say it takes a woman 3 to 5 years to rebuild and find herself again. And I find it to be so true, because I feel like that's how long it's also taken me. And with me, it's not necessarily just with career. It's with every other element in my life. I think we'll also like get into that with other
as we get
episodes.
Other episodes. Stay tuned.
So literally it's taken that long, and I feel like this year has been the first year ever since giving birth where I'm like, this is Rea and she's back. And it also kind of gives me a sense of belonging again, because I feel like when I'm myself, I can then show up in a different way, like a beast mode, you know. And I know people that are very close to me would say, but she's been showing up. But right now I feel like now I'm showing up. So and I can actually feel the shift in my spirit. I can feel the shift in my energy. I can feel the shift in how I present myself. And it's also just caused, obviously, uncomfortable growth, which I had to like accept and be comfortable with. I don't know, it was almost as if it was coexisting simultaneously, the comfort and the uncomfort
at the same time.
You know, so it's been a very interesting journey, but it's been very beautiful. It's been very fruitful. It's been character molding, character building, knowing what you want, knowing what you don't want. And unfortunately, it also affects the people around you and who are close to you, right? So I feel like we're at a point now where you're like, this is me.
So I can only imagine how it must, from the outside, anyone consuming us probably think we've known each other for so long. I mean, it's gotten to a point where my son will pick up the phone and, Maya, call me Rea.
Always. Rea. And it's a video call.
It's a video call. And I want to go back to the how we met, because I just want to emphasize and land the reality that listening to your inner being is a thing.
It is.
We don't make it popular. It's not I don't think it's a construct in society that's quite enjoyed.
I think we easily dismiss it. We easily dismiss it. And that day, I promise you, something was just, and I mean, it was through your housemate, right?
The housemate?
I texted him. I was like, listen, are you guys still at the hospital? So I can come. And he's like, no, we're at home now. And obviously he sent me all the details and I just came. So
it's amazing.
It's
amazing. And I think I also want you to know, actually, that you came at a time in my life where I was praying about friendships. So going back to the loss, right? So it was a classic case of, how do I reconfigure friendship? Because the reality is you fall out of the frequency of how to be a friend.
Mm.
I didn't know. Like, I'm like, okay,
How to be one. Yeah.
it goes beyond sending birthday gifts, checking up on people, but it's more around what kind of people do I need to surround myself with so that I can see myself become a better version of me. And in you being you, I was like, no, that's my go-to place. I selfishly picked you. I'm like, so even now in the friendships that I have, like a lot of my friends are carefully selected.
Yeah, it's intentional.
It's intentional. It's very intentional. So thank you. Yeah,
Thank you. Like, I remember leaving the house that day even. I said to the partner, I was like, interesting. Like,
Yeah.
I can feel her in my spirit.
Sure.
I can feel her, and not knowing where it's gonna lead us to. And I think also I was just like, I'm just gonna let it happen organically. I said that to him. I was like, I'll let it happen organically. If something happens, something happens. If not, it's okay. Because I mean, I did what I needed to do that specific day, and God being God.
Yeah, and listen, guys, you're gonna hear a lot about God.
Yeah.
Because that's just
Who he is in our life. Yeah, and we can't dumb it down or
We can't.
play it down, you know.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's been at the center
Literally.
of everything and how this came about. So we literally cannot take that away.
Sure. I think I also remember how we ended up here, right? And how we ended up here was like, I've spent a lot of time in the past couple of months. So the one great thing about maternity leave, you get to figure yourself out. Like once 12 weeks after that tiny human has now almost started lifting their head, now you also kind of follow suit and lift your head.
Yes.
You then decide, okay, what's next for me? And what was next for me was intentional consumption. So what am I taking in?
Yeah.
Because I know pregnancy almost is a process of you're growing something or someone rather in your belly, and as you grow this being,
you're unbecoming to become, right?
Yeah, you're unbecoming to become. That's so awkward. And on the when you come out on the other side, you're almost needing to now fix everything so that you can get going again.
Correct.
So what you consume and what you do in that period says a lot, and it determines a lot for you.
Yeah. It shapes a lot.
It shapes a lot. And I had been consuming quite a couple of podcasts actually that were very, very much driven and championed by women. And I realized there and then that there's almost a conversation to be had about motherhood and navigating it as a working woman.
Correct.
And I don't think that we speak enough about the mom as much as we do about the children. So we're educating around, what happens at 3 months, what happens at 6 months, those milestones.
Correct.
Ari the baby. But moms
are left behind.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting you bring that up because it's similar to when people come to see the baby. It's always gifts for the baby. And it's like, the carrier? Like, what about me? And I think that's why it was also important for me to bring something for you.
Yes, you brought me a plant. Yes.
Like, moms are always left behind. And I suppose that's the whole purpose of this as well, the podcast in its entirety.
Sure.
The working mom.
That's powerful.
How do we exist in the different dynamic roles that we have to navigate on a daily?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Here we are.
And here we
are. Here we are. I think it's been a fun ride. We almost have gone into the next part of our discussion where we're speaking about how it happened. And how it happened, I believe it was spirit-led. I believe it was very much intentional and purpose. And if you're not necessarily a spirit person or a religious person,
you don't understand.
You won't understand that too. But at the same time, if you believe in purpose and being intentional, some people believe in manifesting. So it's almost, it does lead and speak to navigating life in that way. And I believe that's what we share.
I think we recognized it almost immediately
Yeah.
that it wasn't our doing.
Yeah.
We both recognized it, and I think that's why everything was so like
Yeah.
seamless
Yeah.
in a sense that we
Yeah.
both understood what this was
Yeah.
and what needed to happen and where
Yeah.
we're actually going.
I think one of my favorite things is in the past couple of weeks of us getting us here, there would be times where I'm asking, I'll call and be like, "Are you carrying us this week or
Right.
me?"
We
Very-
alternate, right?
We alternate.
We
So there's a week where you're
alternate.
fine.
Yeah.
We're very productive. And then there's a week where like
You can be like, yeah, Mo's out this week.
Yeah.
I need to.
yeah.
And there'll be a time where you're like, no, Ria's
Yeah, like
having
it's
it.
just you're not
She's not having
you're not
it.
productive.
Yeah.
Oh, man, it's been
And I love that. I love that dynamic relationship that we have between us, because even in the unspoken, right, we know exactly what to do to get us where we need to
Sure.
be. So yeah.
Okay, so diving deeper into getting to know us.
Mm.
So have you always wanted to be a mom?
Do you want the real answer?
The real answer.
No, I don't think so.
Sure.
I really don't think so. But
Sure.
as you'd have it, it's one of the best things that has ever happened to me, because I feel like
Wow,
she
yeah.
brought out so much more in me that I didn't know even existed. You know, you'll always hear moms saying, she's changed me. She like,
Yeah.
well, him or her, the child, has changed me, has done this. But she's brought out a different kind of strength and ambition and just yeah, like it's a different kind of strength that I've displayed over the years, and courage I didn't know I had. Thinking I didn't think I would be able to obviously just comprehend. And I mean, my thought process has always been very different, very intentional, but ever since being a mom, I think it's just like gone Super Saiyan.
But you are Super Saiyan. You're the most orderly person I know. You probably like you crack the whip. I'm just always like, how do you have things on lock all the time?
Yes, fine, I've always been that, but
Yeah.
it's
it was
it's
a new
honestly
level.
gone into like a different level, and it's evolved. I think the partner would always say, you're too much of a planner. And
Relax.
yeah, relax.
We get that a lot.
Or
Like just
relax.
calm down.
Like, don't plan everything. So
Yeah.
I've tried that,
Yeah.
and it doesn't necessarily work for me,
Yeah.
because I always want to know what's next and what I'm doing with my time and my life. So yeah, it's just given me a different kind of strength, a different kind of thinking. I've evolved, and I'm happy with it. It's taken me to places I never ever thought it would, and helped me meet moms, other moms.
Other
I mean,
moms.
if I wasn't a mom, I don't think we would have met. Well, we probably would have met, but not relates in the way that we did, right?
Yeah.
And even like the first time we met, the types of conversations we had was very interesting and very like yeah, relatable. So
I'll share my story, right? And mine is that I was going to be the rich aunt. And I had ambitions of being a chocolate taster. I don't know where I got this career line in my mind. I was going to be traveling the world, tasting chocolate, getting paid a lot of money, and then branding. Branding would have come in somewhere there, because I have.
But you are a brand builder.
I'm a brand
by
builder.
heart. Like at heart.
Yeah.
That's
all I do. Like
you are a brand builder at heart. Yeah.
Yeah. It's actually like, yeah, it's an innate thing I think I have. So I thought I was gonna be the rich aunt and then travel the world, and make the money, come back and be like skiddiddle to the kids, and then jet off again. And then the doctor, I remember when I met my partner, the doctors were saying you actually are not able to conceive because you've got fibroids. Stories that a lot of moms will tell you, like it's happened to me too. And then he literally said to me, not the doctor, the partner said, Yeah, well, that's what the doctor says. Me, I'm gonna have kids, you know. But
Faith.
I didn't believe
Faith.
him. I get it now medically. I'm like,
Yeah.
no, you know. But the reality is, I need to keep asking myself the question, and I ask it now
Mm.
because I'm in it, right?
Mm.
Did I want to be a mom?
No.
No. And not a lot of us will be honest, right? Not judging anyone, but the reality is, I didn't want to be a mom.
Mm.
I had other ambitions, and the ambitions were very much possession and acquisition
Yeah.
and wealth, and all of these
It was
things.
worldly.
Worldly. Worldly. And I guess when God knows your posture, he knows how to mold you, because he's got the North Star. He knows,
Yeah.
right?
He knows how to redirect.
Yeah.
And you'll fight it
Yeah.
for a while.
Yeah.
Until you just accept.
For a while. We fight it every day. Every day.
I don't think I fight it anymore.
You don't?
Even when things fall apart, I'm just like,
I guess
he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
And although I might like have a very specific plan,
Yeah.
but if things kind of go the other direction, then
Sure.
I embrace that.
I think I didn't want to be a mom because I had those ambitions, to your point, that were worldly. And I've had to walk the journey that says it doesn't make me any less than the person that I'm meant to be. It doesn't take
Yeah.
away from who I am that I have those ambitions. But I guess God was saying you need to find a balance, right? And that's why even my it's not a status, kind of what's that WhatsApp thing where you have it's like a mini bio. The bio on WhatsApp, about me on WhatsApp. Mine says I'm this,
this and
that.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And yeah, like,
and you are this and that.
It's wild.
And it's an uppercase.
Yes, it is. It is, but
uppercase.
but how I got to asking you if we can do this for me was because of the journey that I walked in my career, where I've had to stand in my truth, in my conviction that I am a mom, but I am damn ambitious.
Yeah. And the two can coexist.
And the two can coexist.
Yeah.
Yes, there'll be a time where the one will have to take
Precedence,
priority, over the other. But I'm both, And in the type of industry that we work in, it's unheard of to shout about it. But I remember sitting in a presentation, COVID times, and there's a female leader in the space, and she's a head of something in one of the beverage brands. I don't want to speak which brand, but we were sitting. No, it's actually a food outlet brand.
Okay.
So we're sitting in the meeting, and then obviously everybody working from home. Before all of you vanished, and now we have to go back to the office. So work from home times. And this lady's daughter comes into the room. She confidently picked up her child, put her on her lap, and then she said, "Sorry about that, guys. We can continue." Yeah. And they were presenting to her, and this is an exec. Yeah. I was like, I
can be both.
I can be both. Moving from having not wanted to be a mom to God being so gracious and blessing me with these two. I'm like, yeah, no. I'm embracing this. I have no regrets. All I'm working towards is the this
and the that, and constantly evolving within the space. It's required.
Yeah, no, don't talk to me about evolution, because you're right. You're right. Like
I love how when you're a mom, you constantly just have to adapt. Because I mean, at the end of the day, if you don't, you end up getting lost.
I think one of the foundations and the fundamental reasons for this is for me, I also want to answer the questions that I get a lot on socials. How do you do it? And there isn't one formula, and there isn't one answer. No. But there are multiple things that are tools that we can share
with people.
Especially when you're either planning or thinking about it, or you're scared, or you're in it and you feel like you're drowning. Like, reality is, it'll never be a place where you feel settled, because, like you say, you keep
constantly evolving.
But the truth is there are tools and ways of navigating that can assist.
Assist you.
Yeah, it's like anything else that you own, it consistently needs that. Like a car, it needs to go to service, tires need changing,
Constantly pivoting, right, as well.
yeah.
Because you may have the plan, but life can prove otherwise.
Yeah.
And you need to pivot. So, yeah.
So you need to stay ready. Sure. So I think at this point in our discussion, I wanted us to go into, yes, we've set the foundation. Yes, we've spoken about, the ambitions and our why. But beyond being a mom, our reason is beyond that. The reason for this is beyond
It's
that.
beyond it. Yeah.
I was very drawn to you because I was like, that lady knows, she looks like she knows what she's doing. And I also want to know what I'm doing.
But you also came across that way to me, right? So I think we picked up nuances in one another that we could both relate to and saw in each other, not knowing that we were mirroring one another, if that makes sense. So it's very interesting that what you saw in me is what I saw in you. And I was like, damn, that girl. If only.
We don't see ourselves.
Yeah.
We don't see ourselves.
That was my thing. I was like, yeah, that girl.
Really?
I was like, damn. So.
And we don't see ourselves because when I say beyond mom, I always share the hardest thing to do, or the hardest conversation to have is with yourself. It's so nice to chat to other people.
Yeah.
When you have to be like, and my friends will tell you, my other friends will tell you, like, I'm always like, you must go back and be like, self.
What's up?
What's up?
What's up?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think when you do that introspection, right, a lot of us aren't really honest at first until we're just going in a cycle and producing the same results, and you just feel stuck, and it's just a loop, a never-ending loop, until you get to a point where you're like, okay, who am I?
Yeah.
And what is it that I need to change to get to a place where I'm me?
Sure.
So it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of uncomfortable conversations and uncomfortable truths that you have to admit about yourself as well. Because as much as you can point a finger and say, this person and that person contributed to A, B, C in my life that negatively impacted me, but also, what was your contribution to it, and what role did you play in that?
Sure.
So I think you always need to come from a place of also looking at yourself.
And my response to that is, and becoming self is tricky because your point of reference of self is also something that you need to investigate, right?
Yeah. It's not perfect.
It's not perfect.
Yeah.
But more so, like, how do you determine self? And in a lot of the consuming of the content that I've done in the past few years, the one constant that came up was your version of events versus God's version of events regarding you are not matching. You would have never paid me to do this.
Right?
I'm in advertising, but I hated presenting.
But that's what I said to you. I'm like, why are you pulling me out? And this was, and initially this was meant to be just audio.
Yeah.
Right? Because we found ourselves, we found ourselves in a place where we're like, no, I'm comfortable being hidden. Hidden.
Yeah.
And I don't think having it as visual is going to work for me.
Because then people are going to see me, right?
Yeah.
Am I fine? Am I fixed?
Exactly.
Is my jacket,
and this is not about being perfect. It's about just being real and raw.
Yeah.
Unfiltered, having honest, hard, difficult conversations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it took me there where I was like, yo, but what does God say about me? Without being preachy. The reality is I had to go back and navigate that part for me, where one of the things that he spoke to me about was my voice. And whenever I get frustrated at work, I tend to use the phrase, just because I'm soft spoken doesn't mean I'm stupid.
I'm stupid.
And I had to accept that I'm soft spoken and that's how I'm created. But it's with reason.
Yeah.
And I recently started working with a lady who said, the way you manage and handle things under pressure, I'm changing your name to Gracious.
And that's what you are, right? You're so graceful.
Like I said to her, thank you, because it isn't something that I came up with, but it's
what someone saw in you.
Yeah. But more so what God saw in me
saw.
and what He decided. So I tried to be the loudest in the room, and
No,
He
it
was
doesn't
like,
work.
no, you're
It's not you. Calm down. Get back into your corner.
You're the calmest, but you're the one that moves with grace
and purpose.
And things being how they are and life being life. Funny enough, my mother-in-law's name is Grace. And I tried to name my daughter. So in the culture, I can't name
that cannot happen.
my daughter after my mother-in-law. So, and I couldn't name my child using a Setswana name. So I tricked the system. I was like, okay, I'm gonna use the meaning, Grace, in the language, Setswana. And then she got a third name, and it's beautiful that grace is what has actually connected us. It keeps us going.
And it keeps us,
and it's gotten us here.
Amazing.
So that leads us to almost the wrap up. And normally how podcasts start or content starts is people would do like icebreakers. So if we're interviewing or whatever the case is, we've decided to have our icebreakers at the end. Okay.
Yeah.
And our icebreakers are questions. Okay, so
I wonder what you're gonna ask.
So my question for you,
okay,
Rea. So Rea's daughter calls her Rea. When we met, you said, I'm on Instagram, but I just go there for work just to check what's happening, and then I log off. Why are you not on social media?
I think, you know what, I can't exactly pinpoint the moment where I was like, this is not for me type of thing. And not to say that I was off of it completely, but I think from a point of just content, right? It just, I don't know, something in me just shifted where it was over.
Sure.
And it's been 10 years, right?
I didn't know it was 10 years.
Yes, it's been 10 years, 2015, like late 2015. I was just like, And I think over the years, I realized the why behind it. It was just for me to center myself, be one with myself, and know who I am, you know, and not be consumed by everything else that happens online.
Sure.
Because, I mean, you can easily just fall into that trap of wanting to be
somebody else.
Yeah. So I think it like kind of molded that and helped me navigate that. And yeah, it's been great. It's been amazing. And obviously the only reason why my accounts were still active was for work.
Yeah.
For clients.
Yeah.
Because you need access to ad accounts, right? Yeah. So but I think because of now what's happening with us, it's been purposed and designed for me to now get back into the space.
Sure. What a space.
And it's terrifying. It's quite terrifying because even with my friends, when they take content of me, they're like, post. And I'll literally caption, and as soon as I need to post, I lock my phone, and then it's like, you know, and I delete it. So it's also gotten to a point where when they say they don't want to send me my content anymore because I'm not going to post it.
You're not going to post. You're wasting our space.
They're saying, that's what they say. Like, you're wasting our time, bro.
Yeah.
So I think the time now is right,
Hmm.
and I feel comfortable.
Mm.
Although it's very daunting. It's a very daunting thing having to post, and I've been doing it bit by bit by bit, and it's only been on stories
Mm.
because I'm just like, at least it disappears.
Nobody can permanently
Yeah.
locate me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it disappears. So I need to like get to a point and a place where I do something on feed,
Mm.
or rather in feed.
Mm.
So we'll get there. It's a becoming
It's a becoming
thing. Yeah.
so fancy.
Yeah. Not at all. Okay, let's see. For you,
Okay.
I think you've actually already touched on it with the whole being gracious thing.
Yeah.
Because I was gonna say to you, how do you then navigate being in such a very um robust industry with so many like major personalities,
Sure.
and you're quite
Yes.
introverted, right? How how did you navigate that over the years? Because I mean, you've been in the industry for quite some time now,
Mm.
and just staying true to yourself and knowing what your cornerstone is,
Yep.
and your frame of reference as to who you are and what you are and where you're going. What was the journey like for you?
Yeah. The other day we spoke about, am I extroverted or introverted? And I always go back to the fact that I'm introverted. I think I'm introverted because, one, I've always believed because of the pitch of my voice. I wasn't meant to go louder than I already am.
Yeah.
And I think the reality is I've always been a purpose child. And every time I try to hide, God finds a way.
It finds a way to
take
you out.
Yeah, and not a lot of people will know because I completely wiped it out from my history. But in the first 2 years of my career, I actually worked on a very big pageantry brand in the country.
Yeah.
And I was behind, some of the production work, as well as some of the branding of the ladies that we worked with, the packaging of the girls. We literally would build a star, and I was part of that team. And there was a point even in the office where they were like, why didn't you enter the pageant?
But I think I also once asked you
Yeah.
that.
Why didn't I enter the pageant? And my go-to answer has always been, I'd rather be behind the scenes and make money.
Then yeah.
Yeah, but it also is telling because it means I gravitate towards hiding.
Hiding a lot, yeah.
So I think I survive. Actually, I'm not surviving. I think God's purpose is for me to thrive and to make me become who He's decided I am by putting me in constant discomfort. But the biggest thing that I've learned, especially from having the children, like you were explaining how having your child has changed your life, is I had to go back and find my voice. I was chatting to my friend when we were driving here, and I was saying the conviction in my voice hadn't come out enough for me to say I'm me.
I'm me.
So I think I'm placed in the industry to be me and to maybe say there are very many versions of us that exist in this space.
It's not always a loud character.
It's not always a loud character.
Out there egos.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's the minds. We're potentially the minds that are sitting there quietly. And we're not necessarily shy or embarrassed to speak. We just so happen to be in a context that's loud. And to wrap up what I'm saying is, I've even in the foundations of me deciding to take this journey career-wise, I've always said I'm a thoughtist. And the definition of a thoughtist for me is someone that's an artist that thinks.
That thinks, yeah.
Yeah. So
that's exactly what you are.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So with that said, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
for inviting me along.
Thank you for having me.
It's been amazing.
Yeah.
It's been challenging. It's been thought-provoking. It's made me do something I never ever thought
You would do.
I would do in my life. I mean, as I had said earlier, I've always thought of a more intimate type of community
Yeah.
when it comes to
Yeah.
working moms and the likes. So thank you.
And let's start the journey, right? Let's share.
And
Let's
grow.
grow. Let's build a community.
And please, guys, join us.
Yeah.
This is for you.
This is
at
for
the end
you.
of the day.
Ghana, what are we supposed to say? We're supposed to say like, subscribe,
And share.
and share. Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Cool.